Cool, and we are live on the YouTube as well. Cool, thanks for tuning in. All really nice to see so many people hanging out in the Discord. Good to see people are interested in what we're putting out here. It's definitely going places with this shared project. I've been talking to loads of people about workflows and things, and yeah, loads to update on really. So really cool to see people are interested. As most of you probably know, but I'll just cover it anyway, we've got these streams are every single Thursday, going to be sharing what we've been up to. I'm going to go on around the same time, so 3 p.m. UK time. Thanks to all of you that have woken up early for this. It's really, really nice to see you're involved, jumping in. But yeah, we'll do this every week, and it's basically just to show how things have been going with this virtual production shared project, which is geared towards virtual production, virtual broadcast, and that could cover a lot of kind of in-camera VFX stuff or virtual production kind of stuff. And yeah, we're making this shared project as a free resource to go along with the Off-World Live Toolkit and the Composure Toolkit and the live streaming toolkit. It's just another big thing that we're working on to try and make this kind of barrier for entry into Unreal Engine, whether you're coming from like a VFX background or even just a podcast background even. We just want to make this barrier for entry into Unreal Engine stuff just a lot easier. A lot less of a steep learning curve and stuff like that. So yeah, anyone in the Discord or on the YouTube, feel free to jump in with comments and things you want to discuss in this, because I'm going to be showing stuff that I've kind of discovered in the past week, but also just really down to have this as an open Q&A for people to just share notes and just chat about things they might want to learn about for next time, or just compare notes on virtual production, in-camera VFX, virtual broadcast kind of stuff. So yeah, I guess I'll just update with where this project is at the moment. We've been figuring out the file sharing and like the GitHub side of things, and basically what we figured out because of large hold on. Okay, yeah, stream's all good. I thought the stream cut out then. Because of large file storage and things like that, we figured out that we're going to have to post to the GitHub a link to our Amazon workspace, and that is where the files are actually going to be stored. So you are going to be able to download this. It's going to be updated a lot more regularly now, because I can just push a tag on GitHub and that will enable you to follow a link to a download. So yeah, this should be updated a lot more quickly, which is nice. So that's one thing that we've kind of got together for this shared project. I've sort of made a few changes in that you start by coming into this level. Just from a user kind of perspective, someone who's really new to this, they could jump into this and just build inside this level. And then when you go to level prototyping, our comp starter, that's where the Composure stuff will kind of kick in, but it will all be within this level. So like say someone wants to just, start chucking cubes in here or what not. Once they go over to the level prototyping outcome starter, any changes to that level. So this is sort of like a sandbox where you would create your first stuff, and then okay, so what that should be is okay, so that's slightly mixed up, but yeah, it should be that whatever level you start in there, that will come into here. And this persistent level, which I've kind of covered in previous ones, is where all the Composure stuff is going on. So you've got this is all the Composure stuff. This is your screens and things, and your masking, and all of your Composure setup is going on here. But then the kind of environment, whatever you want to do to the environment, is separated into another level here. And then once you hit play and you get going, Oh, so I've just got some things I've been fiddling with. Once you get going, you should have your comp all nicely running. You should have a few sequences that you can pick between. Ideally, when I'm not streaming and I have just done a fresh restart, I was actually getting 70 frames per second in this scene, which is obviously pretty amazing. Currently really not hitting that, getting around 30-ish maybe. But I'm assuming that's because I'm streaming out at the same time, sharing my screen, streaming to 2 places at once, etc. In theory, you should be able to sit in this project and get 70 frames per second in real time, if you haven't done anything too crazy with the actual environment. So someone last week asked about sequencing. I don't know if they're actually in this stream today. But I've found some cool things really with, if we look through the comp here, and I pop this comp out, and I jump into the Cinecam, go to around here. So I've sort of found a way to get foreground elements out of focus in front of composure elements. So you can see this is in the viewport. I've just got this screen like display card kind of message to show the screen is off. But in Composure, the screen is actually on, and I've just got a still texture running in at the moment. But what's awesome is that you can see you've got depth of field type stuff going on, even in a Composure comp. And this is actually like a pretty simple thing to switch into and do. So like, let me just change this focus distance so I can demonstrate it a bit. I might just turn this viewport off for now. Hopefully this will help me demonstrate it quicker. Hold on one sec. Okay, cool. So yeah, getting a little bit of a high disk usage thing. This is something I just need to look into for my computer, to be fair. I'm just having a bit of a weird one with the computer today, but essentially what I'm getting is I can do real-time focus pulls, and that's all masked off as part of the Composure comp, which is really cool. So maybe if I just show you what I'm trying to achieve. Outside of the Composure comp. See if this behaves a bit better. think I might just be due a restart, but we'll see how we go. Cool. Sax Electro's just said it's better watching from YouTube as well, just in case you might be able to see a bit better. Oh, but seriously, I'm just gonna restart this quickly. It seems I've been talking to like quite a lot of industry people in that, and they're like, "Oh, you sometimes just have to restart Unreal. You know, it's just like a standard thing. Flush the caches and things like that, I guess." See how we go. I have a feeling my PC's been a bit funny at the moment, but. So let me just set up like God, it really is quite freezy. Sorry about this, guys. Essentially what I'm looking at is foreground actor is out of focus, yeah. Maybe I won't be able to do focus pull in real time. Just demonstrating that focus pull, you know. In focus, out of focus. And usually in Composure, if you have a matte, the kind of regular matte, should be on. So the regular matte will just capture actors, and it will just do it in like a flat sort of way. Just trying to see how I can grab this matte. 1 second. Still got the capture actors here. Thanks. Yeah, seemingly epic. I'm somewhat struggling with this PC today. Don't know what's going on. I do have some other stuff that I can show that's not in Unreal because it's more about exporting. But yeah, it's a bit annoying. I don't really know what's going on here. But essentially, what you can actually do instead of using the regular matte is that you can actually use an ALCG element again. So that's what I've done here. This is just another ALCG element. And then what this means is it's doing the full post-process effects, the full blur and everything like that. But what you can do is actually just grab the alpha channel from that ALCG element. So I'm actually just using, instead of a matte, I'm just using another full render of the CG. And then you can do your regular you can select your foreground element, you can go layers. I've just added this actor to selected layer, 3D mask. And then in that you can do your include 3D mask. So then what that's doing is instead of, I don't know why this map's not coming up, why is it showing up as empty? not sure, but instead of, your mask would usually come up like really flat like that. So instead I'm actually using this capture actors mixed with the full post-process and focus settings of this. So now you can actually just lift that alpha channel, and that will be, if the cine camera is blurry, that will go blurry, and that means you get a nice border to use in your transform pass. So in my transform pass here, I've got this 3-layer comp that I'm using. Oh, I will get onto that question in a sec, Aned6. That's a really good question about using end display alongside Composure. We'll get onto that in a sec. That's a good question. But damn, I'm literally really almost tempted to just fully restart my PC. I don't know why I'm losing so many frames here. It's pretty crazy. Actually almost unable to demo this. Maybe I'll have to show this matte thing another time. But still, feel free to shoot questions. Maybe this will be more of a discussion today than a demo, but you know what? I have been testing exporting a lot today, and there's been like this weird bug with Unreal where with exporting, it doesn't actually stop exporting when you've stopped playing, so it might still be using loads and loads of disk space for that reason. Weirdness. Yeah, let's chat about this whole matte thing another time. Just had this question from Moises about placing Composure screen into sequencer, which, you know, it's really worth chatting about. So let me show you this stuff that I've been discovering with sequencer at the moment. So like first method for getting your Composure comp into sequencer is by going down to this output. So the output section of your main overarching comp. You can go down to output, and you can just set this player viewport compositing output. And if that's enabled, if you check the preview, it will generally, oh my goodness. Let me turn on my layers. So it should have something in the comp now. Oh wow, I just unticked one of these output passes and now I am flying. This is this is how my computer should be working. Okay, that's something to look out for then. So I'll go into that in a second. Okay, this is looking a lot better now. Media there, back screen there, matte, and I need my CG. Cool, comp looking good now. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're running. So yeah, this is sort of what I had for my comp. I should be able to play a little sequence here. Cool, we are moving. So yeah, so you got your sequence. Got a strange bug going on there, but that's fine. So yeah, say you want to output that. You can go to Composure, you can go to this comp up here, and in the sort of output section, you've got this player viewport compositing output. And what that's doing is it's compositing it over the player viewport. So if you were to begin play, which I can do now anyway, hopefully. That is compositing the whole Composure setup. So the fact that I've got this screen here in the background, like the Unreal starter level screen, that is the composited element. So that is composited in there. So we know we're running like the Composure setup, which is cool. So, you know, go back to the viewport and you've just got the, you know, this like placeholder screen here. So we know that when we begin play, it is actually compositing the player viewport over the whole output. You can click this preview thing, but this shows a linear color space version of this. So it's showing it in Unreal's true linear color space instead of converting it. But the preview, the actual rendered image won't look like that preview because it will convert it, weirdly enough. You can look at applying your own OpenColor.io passes and color conversions, but we can look into that in a bit more detail later on. But for me, if I just have this player viewport compositing output, that means if I go into my sequencer here, you can go movie render queue. Just do your regular movie render queue stuff, you know, export it as you like. Then when you get the export out, it will, because it's kind of on begin play, it's triggering that Composure over the top of everything. You will get this version with the composited media. So that's like the simplest way to get a Composure composite out of Unreal Engine. I've been looking at getting full EXRs with full dynamic range out as well. So what I've been testing is, can you get it out of this player viewport compositing output? Can you just do it from movie render queue and export out, you know, instead of like JPEGs, export out EXRs, and then even you got deferred rendering, so you have this like additional post-process materials, or, you know, additional render passes. So, you know, there seems like there's potential for exporting out EXRs that have you know, your alpha channels or velocity passes or anything like that. So there's potential for diving deeper into this movie render queue, and it'd be awesome to see if people get on with sending out EXRs from this. But if you don't, and you really want an EXR, you can also do it like this. And so this is something to look out for. This is what was slowing me down at the beginning of the stream. You can set another output pass here. So I'm going to turn off the player viewport one. And I've been meddling around with render target output as well. So you've got lots of options for outputs here. But yeah, you've got this EXR file compositing output. And then here you can set a path, you know, set where you want to send it to. Oh, Discord has no sound. Okay. Thanks for the heads up, Julian. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I am getting sound. So yeah, you can. So if you really want EXRs and you want to look at getting, like, you know, full linear color to be working with, full dynamic range of color, you can do this EXR file compositing output, and then you have to use the legacy capturer for now. So I guess this is going to be something that's going to be discontinued eventually. So this is a bit ropey, this technique. So this is why I was looking at that movie render queue, but with EXRs. But for now, if you really want EXRs from Composure, you can go this one, and you can hit this, and then in this image output format, you do this Composure export. So I guess it's just grabbing that data from Composure and running it through this old school exporter. So there's less flexibility and stuff in the amount of render passes and anti-aliasing and stuff you can add. But you know, if you just want an EXR of your composite, you know, if you just want that out, you can just do capture movie here, and that's quite a simple way to get that out. So I'm just going to turn this off again because that was massively tanking my performance. So make sure if you're not using these, you can turn them off. No, I didn't click and drag the Composure comp into sequencer. As you can see, my sequencer just has camera tracking. That's all. It's just got camera movement. All it is you just do this player viewport compositing output. And that means that, you know, when you press render, that's like pressing play, and that means the Composure will go over the top. But yeah, I have been looking at EXRs and like testing out whether my EXR is actually an EXR. So I don't know if, I mean, there's probably quite a few people that are quite versed in compositing and virtual production in this chat, so it'd be awesome to hear your thoughts about this down the line and everything. Let me just see if I can grab another example. Yeah, so here's where I was to kind of see if your EXR is actually an EXR. I was just doing this side by side. So this one here on the right is the EXR, and this one on the left is just a JPEG export. So immediately, like off the bat, you might be able to see that you do have a little bit more color range here. Like the shadows aren't sort of cutting off at their darkest point here. You know, here you can't see the eyeball. Here you can see the eye. So you've got this idea of yeah, DaVinci, bigger and better than Adobe. I'm sure I'm just an After Effects dude at the moment, but pretty new to this stuff, so I'm just using this as a way to sort of check out, yeah, whether my EXRs are true EXRs. So yeah, right off the bat, you got there's a bit of a visual difference, but if you want to be like kind of sure about this, you can check in here that you've got, so this JPEG here, it just has millions of colors here. Whereas the EXR says floating point, pre-multiplied, no compression, and it's got different color profiles here. So you got a linear here. I did have two things I wanted to add to this. See if this works as well, though. In theory here, you can see right off the bat as well, if you add something like a curves, I've just added this as an adjustment layer, so it's affecting both of these at the same time. You can see here that like these whites are still maintaining and they're not bottoming out as quickly as this. And then when you get to here, you really get some noisiness in the JPEG on the left here. And then here you've still got more dynamic range. So outputting these EXRs means you're open to a lot more flexibility with your color grading and things like that. But that's literally just scraping the surface of like the usefulness of outputting EXRs. You can pack loads of data into your EXRs and they're well worth looking into. But for me, at my kind of newbie stage, that was me just checking, like, am I genuinely getting an EXR out of this? You know, so like quickest way to check that would be to like drag it into After Effects or DaVinci or something, and or nuke or something, and just check. You can see this one has millions of colors, but this one's got floating point, pre-multiplied, no compression. So that actually means more than millions of colors, basically. So that's sort of what I was doing to just test, am I genuinely outputting EXRs from these techniques. So now that my stuff is running a bit better, I want to show you this. I want to show you this kind of focus pull technique that I figured out. But essentially, that was, I guess, maybe finishing off this sequencer stuff. That was something that a lot of people are asking: is how do I get this composure out? And essentially, simplest form is using this player viewport compositing output, but so far I'm not sure if you can get EXRs through this method. I'm going to test it a little bit more. Maybe that's something I can feed back on next week. But if you really do want EXRs, you can do this EXR file compositing output and just pair that with the legacy exporter instead of regular movie render queue. There's color space stuff and stuff to think about if you're doing camera inputs and stuff, but maybe if people want to cover color spaces another time, we can totally cover that. So that's exporting. I really wanted to show this like sequencer or this like focal out of focus foreground kind of technique that I found, and this might prompt some stuff that me and Grander Funk were talking about. I can see he's typing now, so that's really cool. Let's see if I can get this map to show up. Why is it empty? Has it got like no camera going in? Interesting. Okay, so cool. Camera blueprints. So pressing number keypads and have camera either switch or pan. Yeah, that's definitely something we can show off. What I've done for that, let me just have a think. So what I've done for that in this shared project is something to kind of organize it a bit better, but this might be a bit more complex than what you want, but it will show what you want to do. So I've made this blueprint called animation selector, and in that blueprint I have these start-stop sequences. I just like pan through this slowly in case you want to like pause and look at it. You don't really need this. This is quite useful. You can like stop your level sequence, like stopping every level sequence before you get going with the next one, and then you create another level sequence player, and then you play. If you want to use this in the shared project, what you can do is just drag this blueprint in, and then you can pick from 4 level sequences. And then just as part of the level blueprint, I've just got animation select. So on a Q press, it's going to call this blueprint here, and it's going to fire this custom event that fires each sequence. So what that's doing is just going, get that up. It's just going to switch between those on the key press. But what you can do is just do this all in level blueprint. So it's going to be a really, really quick, really quick one, because I do want to chat about this focus pull and stuff as well. What you can do is just pull off of this and go. Okay, so like, say you have a sequence that you want to play. You can drag that into the level. Just drag that there, and then in the level blueprint, you can right-click, make a reference to that sequence. And you can just do create level sequence player. And then just go play or play looping. There's a few options there, you know. And hook that in there. So that will do it for one sequence. You can also do on released, you could do stop. So like drag off of the sequence player and go stop. Maybe I'll get another reference to that instead. And you could do something like that. So if I just take out that functionality, it should be that I can press Q in. Okay, maybe not. But it is essentially like combinations of that. Oh, I didn't select the sequence. Okay. Maybe that target needs to be the camera, actually. Okay, yeah, so that will play the 1. Then if you want to play, if you want to have more than that, you just need to do the same thing again, but say doing it on the W key. You can just drag off and go stop. Just grab a reference to the previous sequence I was playing. You want to stop that sequence. And then after that, you want to do the same thing for this. So you can do play looping. You know, create sequence and play looping, but for a different sequence. Like that or something. But yeah, I would suggest using like a technique to really organize all of these sequences. So I would definitely suggest jumping into this project, checking out this animation selector I've got, because it's all hooked up. You just can select between 4 of these, and that just means Q, W, E, R to switch between those. So for me, it's like, this is a bit of a method for it, but it quite quickly becomes quite messy and kind of contrived. So yeah, we can chat about it more another time, but that stop-start method kind of gets you going with it, but as it gets more complicated, it's useful to have something like this animation selector, really. I feel like that was a really bad explanation, but just talking about a few things at once, I guess. Because just back in here, Grander Funk's just going back to OCIO stuff. Yeah, this is an interesting one with finding the right LUTs from the right releases from OCIO. I've found it's quite tricky as well to grab the ones you need and grab all the LUTs. I don't know if anyone else knows about this, but Grander Funk is looking to find the camera profiles, the camera LUTs, so getting the right camera input into Unreal. Looks like some people are talking about that. Cool, yeah. Let me know how you get on, Moises. We can chat about it in a bit more detail, but basically, like, this blueprint is something that I've kind of iterated on quite a few times, and you know, it's just made it a bit cleaner and simpler to use. It's just, you know, pick your level sequences from here, and then because of the level blueprint, that will trigger on these key presses. And you can change these keys if you want. You know, you just click up here and just change, you know, change it to A if you want. But essentially, if you're in this main level and you've got this blueprint, then you can pick between those 4 sequences. So it's quite a useful way. So tried linking a camera stream on our video plane placement plane. When you run sequencer and export on movie render queue, the stream freezes. Wondering if there's a fix for this. Bobby, what are you inputting? How are you inputting that camera stream in? Because that would help figure out whether the movie whether the stream freezes. Is that an SDI camera stream, like camera feed live input, or is it like pre-recorded media? I know there is a thing with media players where you might need to do this on begin play. So if you've got a media, so SDI in freezing. Okay, so that I don't know so much about, because I haven't done loads of SDI straight in. I don't know if any people that have done SDI straight in have found this, where you have your camera feed freezing on export or on begin play. I know something I would suggest is maybe look at doing, instead of exporting, can you do takes instead? So look into take recorder instead of doing export. I don't know if you've looked into that, Bobby. Yeah, Grander Funk in the Discord is just saying I constantly have problems with my camera feed SDI. So common thing. I'm having problems with media, just getting Unreal to read media files as well at the moment. If anyone downloads this project, and yeah, no problems, Bobby. I think, you know, take recorder is like the way that they kind of want you to work with this. Yeah, be an interesting one. We also have our just media output as part of the toolkit as well. So you could look at just adding this our media output, and what that does is it just takes a render target. So you could do compositing, do a render target compositing output. So instead of player viewport, I would do render target out, and you know, that's, you can grab that image, and then in the outliner, if you've dragged in a OWL media capture, you can pump that image into the render target here. Again, as part of the shared project, I've just added an extra little button onto this, which is record on begin play. So you can press that, and then when you press play, it will automatically start that media output. You can do save to file, you know, find your output place, your output directory. But back to, if you really want to do SDI, check this out here on the chat. Grander Funk is saying he often has to resave that media profile. This is a bit of one of these where you have to wake it up by changing a setting. I definitely get that with a lot of things in UE. He's using Blackmagic Decklink 8K Pro, so capture card linking it to OBS and sending it through Spout. That's quite cool. That's a cool idea. So essentially, lots of techniques. There's lots of techniques out there. But yeah, that stream freezing on sequencer is a bit annoying. I guess, is it really the best thing to use with sequencer? Because, you know, if you've got a live feed coming in, but it's not writing the frame at the same kind of rate, at the same frame rate, you might get like skipping and stuff. Because it'll be like, you know, you're getting like 8 frames in the time that it writes 1 frame out, you know, then you might get skipping. So yeah, tape recorder, media output. So Visus, Bobby is just saying that he gets lower quality when he's tried this output. I don't know if you found that as well. This spout output technique. So my PC specs, I'm running a 3070 Ti, fairly spec'd out PC, but I'm seriously thinking of bringing it back to overclockers, because I've told them I've had a few issues and they're like, we need to see this PC, we need it back. So don't know if it's running at the rate at which it should be, but yeah, it's fairly spec'd out and just yeah, 3070. It's not running a 4090 or anything, but you know, should be able to tackle this stuff. But you know, we are pushing serious boundaries of of video output and input. So in this setup, I have my CG and my 3D map both with DLSS enabled. I'm actually getting no visual impact, which is really cool. So I'm getting, where is this? Up here? Yeah. I don't know if you know about this advanced setting here. You can do enable upscaling. Bring that down to 50. Have I got the render scene view extensions on? But that's definitely helping. When I just launched this up, and you know, after a bit of a fresh restart and everything, I can get up to 80 frames per second on runtime, which is absolutely crazy when you think about you've got all of this compositing going on and all of these media feeds. But yeah, DLSS definitely helps that out. So we've got this ghosting thing going on here as well, which is something we're looking into. But why do you ask, by the way, Visus? Is this are you wondering like wondering how things should match up, or how much you need to run something like this, or? Cool. So going public on the shared project very, very soon. I've been figuring out how to push a tag so that you can download this stuff. I will do my best to get this out after this stream this evening, and then I'll put out and at everyone on the Discord when this version of the project is downloadable. Yeah, it'd be super great to see how you guys get on. See if you get the same smearing for one. You know, we're not saying like, I'm not saying I have all the answers with this. I'm totally working it out. But I have definitely been doing this a lot, made a lot of things that make things a hell of a lot easier. So it's a two-way thing, you know. It'd be awesome to get you guys in, downloading, using it, so that you can suggest stuff, Everyone's from so many different backgrounds. I just get, amazing feedback from people all the time. So yeah, super keen to get people in and using this. using this scene. But yeah, there's earlier live streams as well where I show kind of the basics of using this, but I am also going to put this out with a load of tutorials of just like what I'm trying to achieve in this scene and how to use this project in a way that makes your workflows a lot quicker. Because that's really the idea, is that, you know, can you just jump in, and the idea with this really is that you should be able to just jump in here, set the media feed for this and this, and you're immediately a broadcaster presenting a show in a virtual studio, and then you can go and push it further if you need. Yes, Cue the Fog, thanks for reminding me of that question. Composure compatible with NDisplay. So what is your use case for that? To be honest, I haven't tried it out loads myself, and I would think it's almost slightly different use cases, but what are you thinking of doing with Composure and NDisplay together? Yes. Yeah, soon. So good question about this Alcinicam moving the same single camera into different positions. So the main reason for that is that the Alcinicam, people are generally, if you're using the Alcinicam, you're generally looking to use it for its capture component, and the capture component is useful because it creates a render target. Where is that? So it creates this render target, doesn't it? So, you know, that's the super useful thing about the Alcinicam. You can do what you want with that render target, but if you have loads of these in the scene, you're going to be rendering loads of different render targets. So that's going to get really, really costly, and you're just going to be seriously low on FPS if you have too many of these running at once. So the idea of making a single camera jump from position to position is that it's all coming out as one render target. So other people do the same thing by having multiple Cinecams and just pausing and unpausing rendering, so that you only have one render target going out at once. So that's another way to kind of mitigate that risk of having loads of render targets being written. So I'm just going to read the rest of your question. Main reason for this, I've tried also to create 2 Composure comps with 2 Alcinicams. Using 49T works well at the beginning. This is really interesting. Being controlled by Cinecam 1 and 2. May suddenly wrongly reference Cinecam 1 instead. Even I selected to override. So this is really interesting, really interesting, and like this is almost something that we could like sit and work out over a stream or something. This is quite a complex workflow. There's definitely techniques for having multiple camera setups for Composure. I guess you're doing like a camera 1, camera 2 kind of thing, where you've got like 2 shots on one subject and you're switching between those. There's totally ways to do that with a single Cinecam. What you're saying about the Cinecam wrongly referencing Cinecam 1 or 2 is very interesting. I would note that, so for our video playing placements and things like this, you don't actually necessarily need a Cinecam for this. So unless you want to output the render target of what the Cinecam is seeing at the same time, you can actually still use our video playing placements and everything with just a regular Cinecam as your Composure. So like if you were to create another just Cinecam actor, that could totally just be your main Composure Cinecam instead. Oh, I just reselected it. So you can totally do that. That's broken everything just for other reasons there, because of inheritance and things like that. But you can totally start with a regular Cinecam. So just that's the thing that might make you think differently, or just realize that like it doesn't have to be an Cinecam looking at that. But I have experienced things with kind of, I think what you're seeing here with the video plane placements kind of wrongly referencing is a conflict in multiple spout feeds or multiple render targets conflicting for the same place. I think this is one that we should totally just look at like in a session, either on one of these live streams, because it could be really useful for someone to look at. So if you're up for that, that'd be awesome, or we can just look at that privately. But I do want to do a session on multiple camera setups where you've got a kind of camera 1, camera 2 system for Composure. So that doesn't really answer your question, but I guess it shows that it is an interesting thing that I want to look at as well. I know something you can quite simply do is in a sequence. You can do it in a sequence, or you can do it in a blueprint. You can actually reference a screen. So I've got this as a blueprint because I've actually gone a bit further with this. But you can track, what is it? You track an event trigger. And this actually lets you access anything that's in your blueprints. Trigger. May need to remind myself of exactly how you do this, but I was looking at this a couple weeks ago. What this would do is, so you could track your video plane placement, and you could tell one to pause and the other one to play. Again, let's look at that privately, I guess, or next live stream or something, because it's something I've been sort of touching the surface of, this like multi-camera setups for Composure. Yes, you can download my knowledge. It's all in this. It's all in this project, and we're just doing our best to feed back everything that we've discovered, and just keep it as well documented and as easy for you guys to use as possible. It's such a challenge though. There's so many. This stream has been so awesome because there's just been so many people throwing around different ideas. But it does totally demonstrate the fact that there's a million ways to do everything, a million things that people want to learn and do. So it's been an awesome challenge, but it's been a challenge to give people something that makes it easier while not restricting what you want to do at the same time. But yeah, this project will be much more regularly pushed for download soon enough. Yeah, watch out for, I'll really try and do an at everyone this evening after doing an update of this project. You can download it as is. And then all the past live streams will show you how to use various aspects of this. And also, yeah, we're going to try to do quite a comprehensive kind of tutorial series to go with this now that it's at quite a good stage. Thanks, Chipko. Honestly, it's just like awesome for us to be on the knife's edge of getting feedback from everyone. That's just like super valuable for us too. So it's totally a win-win. Putting out information only leads to further questions from people, and it's better than having to wait for a release and then sit on that release for ages, then work on stuff in private. We'd much rather just work on this in public. Having said that, I am sitting on this release, so I need to get it out ASAP. Yeah, so a bit of an all over the place this stream, but I think it's been really awesome in that we've got a lot of interesting questions out there. I really think soon, this user in Discord soon, I would love to get in touch with you and talk about how we would do a multiple camera setup. And who knows, maybe this time next week we might have a really good technique for doing a multiple camera 1, camera 2, but with one Composure comp kind of setup. I think you said you were using multiple Composure comps, which I think we can do it with one comp, which would obviously be a bit more performant, and yeah, if we can get that working smoothly, then that'd be great. Alco, you just messaged, I've been trying to set up 2 camera shots shooting on the same subject at different angles. Yeah, that's something I've had a couple other people have been wanting to do, and yeah, be really keen to get that sussed. I think I'm really nearly there. There was just something to do with that sequencer accessing the blueprint, and it's quite hard to get into the Composure stuff. You can't just like keyframe it and stuff, which is a bit annoying, but you can. There's workarounds for it for sure. Cool. Yeah, looking like I've covered everything this week. Literally, thank you so much everyone for all the energy on this. It's like really useful for me to see what people want, and what kind of questions people are looking for. Yeah, gonna be here same time next week. Feel free to keep chatting in the Discord, of course. Yeah, and I'll be here next week. And then we've also got the virtual VTuber stuff on Wednesdays, also at 3 p.m. So that's a whole other area of awesome stuff you can do with the live streaming toolkit. That's same time every Wednesday. So yeah, thanks so much for all your energy on this, guys. And yeah, I'll be showing off some stuff. Maybe camera switching blueprint. Well, yeah, 2 shots in one studio and one Composure comp. See if we can get that sussed for next week. Thanks so much, everyone.